All right, guys, welcome to another Venom Talks AMA. We're here with Crypto Aaron, Master Peg, and Diamond from the project bitBOMB. But this is just one of the utilities or one of the farms in their actual ecosystem. So these guys have been around since I believe November 21st. That was last year, right, Aaron?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, you guys have been around for quite some time. So excited to talk about your project with you. But before we get into it, maybe just give us a brief introduction on yourself, sort of what your guys' background is, how you found yourself in the space.
Sure. So I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, typically in the telecom industry. And while I heard about crypto early on, it didn't really intrigue me right away. It was really when I learned about smart contracts that kind of everything just really came together for me. I've always been big into like financial instruments, like, options and different option trading strategies and, stocks, things like that. Also, I've been a programmer for my whole life and I love automation and, basically crypto, smart contracts, DeFi, I just pulled it all together, everything that I'm passionate about. So, once I learned what you could do with smart contracts and I was just sold, and basically that's all I've been doing ever since. So, and that was about 18 months ago, I want to say. So I was
Jeez,
really
okay.
not too heavy in crypto prior to that. So I'm fairly new to the space compared to most people out there, but
So you're the actual developer of these contracts, though? You created
I
them?
am. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And Master Peg is and Diamond is. How are they included in the?
I'll let them speak for themselves, but I'll just preface it by saying they're both project leads. So like we're doing a bit of a restructuring of our organization because we're growing really quickly and we want to have, the whole organization really structured so that, things can get done efficiently and quickly. So they are the project leads for our two of the main protocols that are part of our entire ecosystem. But I'll let them introduce themselves.
Sure.
Hey everyone, Diamond here, project lead for bitBOMB. I'm a programmer at my base, but I've been managing projects for the past couple of years, and I fell in love with crypto about a year ago. The possibilities to basically become the bank to bring the power back to the people, I thought it was very intriguing. And I found BOMB maybe 6 months ago, a bit after it started, and really fell in love. I've been with the project for a while, and recently when the project started growing, they needed help to take care of different projects. What we're basically trying to do is give love to every project, every piece of the ecosystem, bring the love that it needs. So everyone can, every project can thrive.
Perfect.
My name's Master Peg, and I'm project lead for CZ Pegs. Been in the crypto space since probably 2013. I've been previously working in project management for unrelated to crypto stuff for about the last 10 years. Really got into DeFi heavy sort of last year or so. Started in BOMB pretty early. Got really interested in Tomb Forks, a lot of different projects. But when CZ Pegs came out, I instantly realized that there is some upgrades that other people aren't doing, and it really intrigued me. So I got on board with the team and have been now for a month or two.
Right on. Okay, perfect. So what about the rest of your team? Let's just get in a little bit of details about the rest of you guys' project. So, it's quite a big platform that you guys got going on. You have a swap, you have vaults, you have farms, you have bonds. Like there's a lot going on. So it's obviously not just the three of you that are looking after this entire project. So just for the core team members, how many of you are you composed of?
So as I mentioned, we're going through a bit of a restructuring, and that's going to include hiring. We've already made some major hires in the last couple of weeks, and once they're kind of settled into their positions, they're going to be the ones responsible for hiring out even further staff. But I'd say on our core team now, we're in the 10 to 15 range, but we have a lot of additional resources that we take advantage of that are, maybe they're not full-time or maybe not even dedicated to part-time, but they're just very skilled individuals that we have access to when we need something done. Whether that's like, we have someone that's, with like 8 years of experience in crypto marketing that, I have full faith in him for marketing type decisions. He has a lot of connections in the space. We have guys for graphics and, certain development work that, we kind of pay them piecework type of thing. We have access to a lot of resources, but the core team itself is likely around 12 to 15 right now, but that's going to be growing in the next couple weeks.
Okay. Are you guys international? So based around the world or sort of around from the same place? Or?
Yeah, like I'm not picky about where people are located. I care more about their skill set and dedication and, them having the same core values as, what I have, which is definitely like protecting investors' funds and, basically offering yield farming and all the different things that we offer, but, having it be as safe as possible at the same time. So,
right. Yeah. The only reason I ask that is just, for easily expanding into different languages, different countries, stuff like that, right? So if you're all based in the same place, it's not as easy. You have to bring team members in that sort of speak those languages. So just trying to get a feel for where the team's sort of based.
Yeah, we've kind of lucked out in that regard because, like I said, I'm not picky about where people are located, but we do happen to have people that speak quite a few different languages that, it's definitely come in handy in the past. And it's actually brought up yesterday on another AMA I was on, about having, maybe making a site multilingual or, having dedicated channels for different languages, right? Just because we don't want to limit who can access, all these great things that we're doing. So I think that's, something that we're going to really look into. And, it's something that we could actually implement fairly easily just because, if you look at these two sites, they're very similar. That's because we're using a template basically that we created. And there's a lot of extra work to do it this way, but we essentially have one code base for both of these sites, and we still have the ability to customize them. But we're going to be launching additional protocols on other chains outside of BSC in the very near future. So now we have this single code base so that, when we make an improvement, it can propagate out to all the different sites. We still have the ability to customize and everything. So.
Okay, right on.
To add to that, my mother language is French. Yeah, right in the core team, we do have one extra language.
Right on. That's perfect. That's what I'm saying. It's just easier to sort of expand. You have a trusted member on your team. You're not sort of putting just a random moderator or something in another group that, they know the language, but you don't really trust them or anything like that. So that's perfect. Moving on. So the whole purpose of this AMA was to sort of discuss bitBOMB, but I think a lot of it has to do with your entire ecosystem, right? So how do you sort of want to handle this AMA? I'm going to sort of leave it up to you guys the way that you want to lead it, because we can talk about bitBOMB, but we're sort of encompassing the entire ecosystem, right? So how do you feel like you want to proceed?
I guess let's start from the top down, because one of the more recent protocols that we released was PegHub, which is kind of the umbrella protocol that kind of governs the whole ecosystem. So that's probably a good place to start. And then from there, we can talk probably about our two flagship protocols, CZPEGs and bitBOMB. And we can touch base on some of the other things that we offer as well. But that's probably the majority of the AMA. We should talk about bitBOMB and CZPEGs, but as well as PegHub, because that's just the overall, umbrella protocol, like I said.
Right. Okay. So you guys started out with CZPEGs. That was the first token that you actually released, right?
Nope. So we actually started out with BOMB money. So bitBOMB was, you could, I guess, call it a relaunch, but it was more like a fresh launch, but with a migration ability for people that were in the original BOMB. So just to give you guys some history real quick. So BOMB money was the very first tomb fork. This is my idea that we had in November of last year. And I didn't know how well it was going to go, but I basically, this all came about because I saw Tomb Finance and how well they were doing. They were doing incredibly well. They were paying APRs that you can't find anywhere else. And I was thinking, for one, why has nobody forked this? And for two, why don't, if we're going to fork this, why don't we fork this on a bigger chain where there's more money and then also pegged to something that is safer than Phantom, something that more people are familiar with and, that people want exposure to. So that was the whole reason behind launching BOMB money. And again, this was the very first tomb fork. Now there's, last I heard there was over 1,000, and that was a couple months ago. So, BOMB had a lot of success out of the gate. And obviously everybody wanted to kind of try to replicate that and do that on their own, which kind of diluted the market down a little bit. But, a lot of those projects are no longer around or they've dwindled down to nothing. So,
Yeah, it is super unfortunate when the market sort of becomes saturated with that next, meta that's going on. And Tomb definitely was a meta for a little while. We sort of went into the super high APY projects after that, Seifu fork, stuff like that. But Tomb, it was an awesome project. For people that don't really know it, myself included, I wasn't really involved in Tomb. I didn't do too much research on it. Maybe can you just give us a little bit of insight on that, how it was sort of set up, what it was doing?
Yeah, so keep in mind, when I first discovered Tomb, I was not overly familiar with DeFi overall, I guess you could say. Um, so what happened with me is when I first saw, I was looking at some yield aggregator sites, like I think I was on Grim Finance or something like that. And I just, I kept seeing Tomb at the very top of the list in terms of, the returns that they were paying. And I thought, okay, well, this must be one of those pairs where one of the token is just going to trend towards zero. But that wasn't the case. So I did some due diligence. I did a lot of research, read through their docs thoroughly, and I was just really impressed. So I started doing research on algo coins because that's what Tomb is. It's an algorithmic coin that's pegged to the price of Phantom. And algo coins don't have a great history, right? Like most of them typically get into a death spiral and just never recover from it. So to me, it seemed like, okay, well, Tomb has figured out the right combination of mechanics and tokenomics to actually have a successful algo coin. So that's one of the main reasons why BOMB didn't change much from Tomb. All we did was we pegged to something different, and we introduced a 10,000 to 1 ratio on the peg. So kind of like this is our old site. $100,000 Bitcoin would be a $10 BOMB peg, right? Because I wanted our peg token to not be, at the time it was like a $50,000 Bitcoin. I didn't want a $50,000 BOMB coin, so I did a 10,000 to 1 ratio, which a lot of the people that forked this copied that and are running a ratio themselves. But just to explain what this is, because I kind of skipped that part of your question.
That's okay. Yep.
So all of the Tomb forks essentially work the same way. So I'll explain it looking at Tomb here. So what the goal is they have a token called Tomb. Actually, I can just explain it here. So we have a token called BOMB. Actually, let's just explain it here. Sorry.
That's okay, man.
So bitBTC is the same as BOMB. So, bitBOMB is the evolution of BOMB. It's a protocol that's very similar to CZ pegs in the mechanics and some of the different things that we've implemented. So the way that this works is bitBTC is pegged to the price of Bitcoin, but at a 10,000 to 1 ratio. So it is a little bit below peg right now. So this should be, at peg, this would be around $2.08, looks like, based on the Bitcoin price. So basically what we do is the way that people make money through our protocol is we have very unique farms where someone that wants asset exposure to Bitcoin, our pair is bitBTC, which is paired to Bitcoin, or which is pegged to Bitcoin, and then it's paired with BTC. So essentially you're getting 100% asset exposure to Bitcoin, but, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what kind of, yield you get when you single stake Bitcoin, but it's usually like, 1 to 8% a year, somewhere in that range. Well, ours is around, paying more than that per day. Like, it's paying 683% per year. That's the APR. That's not even APY if you're compounding. So it's, we basically have some really unique farms that let you get exposure to the assets that you like. So if you like Bitcoin, this is the one for you. And we pay yields that are just, far beyond what you'd find anywhere else. And that's the main driver of, getting new users into the platform is, hey, you want Bitcoin exposure, but you don't want to get 5% APR? Well, here, we'll give you Bitcoin exposure, farm our pair, get a lot higher yield than what you get anywhere else. And, with bitBOMB, we've introduced some other pegs. So that's one of the big improvements that we have in bitBOMB over the original BOMB. Original BOMB is just a single peg token, where we actually came out with this idea with CZ pegs. So this has 4 peg tokens, but I'll talk about bitBOMB just since that's what we just launched. So we've got
I know you got a lot going on. It's okay.
Yeah. So the other tokens that we peg to, they're all level 1 chains, essentially. These are all native tokens on their own chain. And in addition to that, they're tokens that are on chains where we're never going to be launching another protocol like ours. So that's why we didn't pick some of the other ones like Ethereum or Matic or, any of these, because we're going to be launching our own protocols similar to this on those chains. So that would be a better protocol to peg to their native token. So,
Okay.
we're not gonna launch on any of these largely because we can't, because it's not compatible. But a lot of people, they love these tokens, and they either hold them already or they want to be holders of these tokens. I know that I like exposure to all of these tokens. So basically, we're offering something super unique in the fact that, like, if you like Polkadot, here you go, BitDot. It's a dot peg, and then we have dot, and that's the pair itself that you would be farming. So you have 100% asset exposure to Polkadot, but we pay more per day than they're probably paying per year for staking, right? So, I mean, these will come down as more people enter the farms, but it's still going to be astronomically higher than you'd get for single staking Polkadot anywhere. And our pair is very similar to single staking in that you have 100% asset exposure, right?
So I'm trying to really understand how this sort of works. Like, I'm familiar with farms. I do farming, I do staking, stuff like that. But I'm not a developer. I'm going to be real. I'm not a developer. I don't really know how it works. So, you create this pair, you buy some of your bitBOMB token, you take that, you pair it with, you create the pair, you put it in the farm, and then you're farming DOT. Are you also getting bitBOMB as well from this in particular farm?
Yeah, I'll go into that actually, I'll go into that right now. So,
Sure.
Firstly, I should say, let's look at some of the pairs here first. So, so as you can see, the two assets that are involved in all of the pairs is, for example, Cardano, it's BitAda with ADA. With Cosmos, it's BitAtom with Atom. So, typically when you create a liquidity pair, it's usually like some token, and then you have a common base like BNB or Bitcoin or, one of these common base, or BUSD or something like that. So if you want to farm and gain exposure to that asset, you're really only getting exposure on half the side of the pair. And depending on what you're paired with, you could suffer a lot of impermanent loss depending on what, the tokens do relative to each other. So we basically take all those negatives out of the equation and give you, 100% asset exposure to what you want without hardly any impermanent loss risk, because the tokens are meant to stay at the same price. The way that you make money is, we don't actually reward these with the PEG token. I'll get into that later, how these PEG tokens are created and how to acquire new ones. But in terms of the farming, you can see I got a bunch of farms going right now. Let's go into Atom, let's say. So in the Atom farm, you would simply create your pair of BitAtom with Atom, stake it here. And what we actually pay it is bit shares. That's the reward token here. We'll probably have our auto compounding vaults released later today, or maybe tomorrow at the very latest, where this would all be automated for you. So anybody could enter this pair, farm at this crazy APR, and the APY on this would be like in the hundreds of thousands or millions, just because if you compound every 2 hours, it makes this number go up like exponentially. But so essentially, BitShare is your reward token. So
Okay.
what BitShares do, here they are right here. For one, we have a great BitShare farm because we need big liquidity on BitShare to make it, very tradable. So this farm actually gets the highest allocation of rewards out of all the farms, just to keep a lot of interest into BitShare and to make sure there's big liquidity on BitShare. But so you get rewarded from the farms in BitShares, and then what you can do with your BitShares is, well, of course, you could sell them if you want to take profit, or what you can do is you can put them into the boardrooms. So the boardrooms, this is where we mint new tokens. And you can see the APRs on these are absolutely bonkers right now. So, I mean, let's take a look at this. So
Yeah, that's massive. 13,000% APR.
I mean, look at this.
Absolutely massive.
We're on Epoch 3, which means that this would have printed 3 times. So basically 3 times this spit out rewards for me, essentially. And I should mention that for the first week or the first 21 epochs, these things print no matter what. Because in the future, we're only going to print new tokens when this number is over 1.001. So it's got to be a little bit over 1.0 peg.
That's the ratio of the peg, right?
Yeah, exactly. But for the first 21 epochs, we're printing no matter what. So you can see on $1,900 worth of BitShares, I've got $416 of BitAtom, and that's in one day. Because there's 3 epochs per day. So I'm literally going to recoup my investment in 3 days or something. Right? So,
wow.
And of course, you get to keep the BitShares. I mean, they're not going anywhere. But that's your ROI on your entire investment is 3 days. Although I think I did pick the highest paying boardroom. But the other ones aren't that far off. 9,000%, Oh, actually 13. Wow, that's huge. Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So making bank, right on. Okay,
You know,
so yeah.
I might have actually claimed some of those, so it actually might be higher. So yesterday, I probably would have claimed some of these rewards. So, I mean, yeah, this is just nuts what this is paying.
Okay,
But
so break it down for us. Okay, so were you about to go into how it sort of pays you out a little bit? Like,
yeah,
you're
so
staking. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, so just I mean, the whole way that the system works is it's just designed to kind of be a little bit of a cycle, I guess you could say. So what drives everything is, people want to farm and get a good return on their investment. So, we recommend that people generally stick with the farms, or at the very least put 80% of whatever you're investing into the farms. And then the other 20% you can use to get bit shares, either for the bit share farm, which is, paying 18% daily right now. Like I don't know when I claimed this last, but I have 10% of what my deposit's worth already sitting there. So I probably would have claimed that last night or something. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So, so essentially the drive is that people want exposure to these assets so that they jump in, they farm them, they earn a ton of bit shares, which they can then use to sell, or if they're in an auto compounder, it's going to automatically sell those just to build up their position. They'll have more and more LPs every 2 hours when it compounds. And then the boardrooms printing is what drives the price of BitShare up and keeps BitShare from, going too low, because they want to receive those newly minted tokens from the boardrooms. So people are always buying BitShares. And that's also why we put so many rewards on the BitShare. So the BitShare farm actually gets twice as many rewards. Like the allocation to BitShares is double what it is for any of the peg tokens. It's like 1/3 of all of our rewards go to this one farm, and then like
Holy.
1/6 with each of these.
Okay. So yeah,
So
okay. So you're farming these different pairs. You're receiving the bit shares, and then people take their bit shares and they either sell them for the profit or they put them in the boardrooms for another layer of staking or farming. Is what you're saying,
exactly.
basically.
And then
Okay.
like you could build your bag incredibly fast if you're just in the farms. You take those bit shares, you throw them in the boardroom, and then this is going to print you the peg tokens that you need to get back into the farms. So you can kind of do a cycle and just keep building your bag like incredibly big.
Mm-hmm. So it's just a back and forth system. So that's exactly what it is. People are staking their tokens away. They're earning their rewards. They're taking their rewards, putting it in the boardroom, which again is staking your tokens away. Is there any lock times on these farms, or are you able to just go in and out whenever you want, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there is no well, there's the only place that we have any sort of a lock, and we actually greatly reduced it for CZ pegs and bitBOMB versus what we had set in our original bomb protocol. So I believe it's a one. So everything is counted in epochs, which are 8-hour periods. There's a 1 hour, or sorry, a 1 epoch lock to be able to claim rewards, and there's a 2 epoch lock to be able to withdraw your bit shares. But realistically, the numbers kind of work out to be one lower than that, because as soon as the epoch rolls over, that counts as an epoch. So just to give you an example, that's probably confusing everybody. If I were to deposit bit shares 5 minutes before the epoch was finishing, or 1 minute before it's finishing, as soon as that rolls over to the next epoch, I can claim my rewards. So essentially, you can claim your rewards immediately, even though it's technically a 1 epoch lock, just because that 1 epoch lock goes away as soon as the epoch rolls over and your rewards are there. That 1 epoch wait period's over, and then it's just a 2 epoch wait period for the shares. So that's the only lock. And traditionally, that would have been like a 3 epoch lock for rewards and a 6 epoch lock for the shares. So we've greatly reduced that. One feature that we did add is just to prevent people from jumping around between the boardrooms like crazy, or at least they can do that if they want, but there is a 2% deposit fee and a 2% withdrawal fee to get in and out of the boardroom.
Okay.
So that's something new. Yeah.
All right, so those are sort of covering the farms. Now, when it comes to the actual tokens themselves, so bitBOMB, for example, you're able to sort of purchase bitBOMB and then you're able to pair it. You're able to start farming in these. Is there any other like aspects that can these tokens do anything else, or are they just mainly for farming?
Well, we just launched this protocol. So for at the moment, the main purpose of these is strictly for pairing up and getting exposure to some extremely great assets. and
Mhm.
earning insane yields on those assets, because a lot of people are just holding these in their wallet. So, I mean, I think that alone is, quite a great utility. But we, with BOMB Money, the original, we continuously built out different utility for the PEG token to give people other reasons to buy it than just to farm, right? And we'll do the same thing here. We just launched, so we don't have anything in place at this moment, but we've got a lot of things that we did with BOMB and a lot of ideas that we hadn't yet implemented into BOMB that we'll be implementing here and as well into CZ Pegs.
Okay. When I was going through your guys' white paper, I was looking through the tokens. I also saw that you have the CZ Share governance token. So that's what we were sort of talking about. CZ Pegs protocol governance token. So a governance token usually gives community or investors power somewhat in the project for, I don't know, decision-wise or something like that. What is your governance token? Does that do anything like that?
Yes. So I'm a big believer in having the community decide things. I always want to do what's best for the community, and there's no better way to gauge that than to have like an official governance vote. So, and I'll talk more about this as well when we talk about PegHub, but for both CZ Pegs and for bitBOMB, our governance token is the actual share token, because this is kind of a token that people hold when they believe in the protocol long term. They throw those in the boardroom to get the newly minted tokens, and it's the ultimate token that, kind of shows the protocol's health and, if people are interested in the protocol, right? Because every other token, it's a peg token. There's a certain price it's supposed to be at. It's not supposed to moon, right? It's just supposed to keep its peg.
Yeah.
The bit shares, with Tomb, we saw the T-share price, start off around $80, $200. It hit a high of $22,500. Obviously right now it's doing pretty rough right now just because of all the events that have happened. And, when Luna collapsed, that really hurt all algo coin projects. So now it's only $131. But yeah, that was holding over $5,000 for the longest time. And even, like I said, went as high as 22.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Sorry, what was the other thing that we were going to talk about there? You said that you were going to bring it up. It was the CZ.
PegHub.
Yes, Peg Up. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh, actually, we just hit a milestone. Great time to
Ooh.
show this. So I guess really quickly before I talk about the milestone, I'll talk about like how this works. Just so it's easier
Wait,
to
can
understand.
we talk about your logo first, man? Come on, guys. That's hilarious.
Oh man, it's the best. This is honestly, PegHub is probably the smartest idea I ever had.
Oh, I love it. That's good.
So peghub.com for anyone that's interested. And this site is going to get a refresh in the next couple of days, just so it kind of talks about all the different protocols. But let me quickly talk about what PegHub is. PegHub is the overall governance and revenue sharing token of the entire ecosystem of everything that I'm building as a developer and the team is building. So that includes all of our seniorage protocols like bitBOMB, CZ Pegs, and we are launching at least 2 to 3 more over the next 2 months, I'd say at the max, but you should see 1 or 2 relatively soon on other chains, though they're not going to be on BSC. So what we're doing here is all of the developer allocations. So there's a developer allocation of share tokens every day, and as well as when these tokens are printing in the boardroom, they also have a developer allocation. So I said, you know what? Instead of those developer allocations going to me, what we'll do is we'll build some automation to take those developer rewards, and we will automate strategically selling them numerous times throughout the day when it makes sense to be selling them. So for example, we don't sell tokens when they're under peg, because that would just be shooting ourselves in the foot. So it will not sell tokens under peg, but the bit shares, because there is no peg, it just sells them in very small amounts throughout the day. And this is going to apply to all of our revenue streams across every single protocol. They feed some automation, which strategically sells those tokens, converts it to Bitcoin, and sends it to the PHub reward distribution contract, which as soon as that contract receives Bitcoin, BTCB, it instantly buys back PHub on the open market and provides it as rewards to stakers. So basically anybody that buys PHub and stakes it, they can basically know that their best interest is directly aligned with my best interest, because I'm no longer getting developer rewards. My developer rewards are coming through PegHub, right? So it's natural that I want as much revenue as possible to feed through PegHub. So And so the buyback that I was just talking about as part of the automation, I mean, before we launched bitBOMB 2 days ago, this number was at about 75. So we had bought back 75 Peg Hub on the open market in the prior couple of weeks. I mean, we've jumped from 75 to 100 just in like a day and a half. So the buybacks are really flowing through like crazy. So, and just to talk about Peg Hub a little bit more, I looked at like Yearn Finance and Beefy, their tokens, how they work, because I really like those models of having a very limited supply token. So we only have 10,000 Peg Hub, and there's no mint function on our contract. We cannot mint anymore ever. 3,500 of them are locked up investing. Sorry, I said investing. They're locked in investing contracts, so they can't, they're going to be released slowly over the course of a year. And yeah, essentially, I think that, as long as we have any kind of revenue sources, which we have numerous right now, and we're going to have more in the future, I mean, Peg Hub is going to go like 10,000 is a conservative guess, like not financial advice, but just the tokenomics and the mechanics and the automation that we've already built into this. I mean, there's no way it doesn't happen unless Bitcoin goes to zero, which obviously won't happen. But
yeah, okay. We love Bitcoin. Don't let it go to zero.
Yeah.
Save us, Aaron.
Yeah. No, but like anyone that's bullish on if you're bullish on like what we're doing, or, think that we have good things going on and good things coming in the future, which, I hope that that's the message that I'm portraying. This is a very simple token where you can just buy this, stake it, and, it's the APY is or this should say APR, but this is actually quite high. This is not meant to be a super high like APR type farm. It's more about the price the token's going to get to, right? It's like with these automatic buybacks, yeah, the tokens that are bought back do get provided as rewards to people staking. But the main draw here is that this token is, I think in the next bull market, this easily hits $100,000 a token.
Especially with that logo, man. Yeah, I guarantee
it.
Yeah.
100%, man.
No, honestly, I really like the APY of your guys' projects. 70% is pretty reasonable in my honest opinion. We've been seeing these, the meta, like I was talking about Seifu and Titano forks and stuff like that. Massively high APYs. Like I'm talking like 2 million APY, man. And what runs through everybody's head as soon as they see that? How is that sustainable? It just doesn't make any sense. So, you guys, it doesn't make sense, right? It's crazy. So you guys have, 13,000% on your other pools there. This one's 70%, which is, that's better than 2 million%. So that's great. As well as just the way that your system is set up. So people are staking into this one, they receive their rewards, they stake it into the next pool. It's just sort of a cycle, an endless cycle, like you were sort of talking about. And you're just able to keep building those rewards and keep building those rewards, which is very cool. So what is sort of your guys' next step here? You were talking about expanding into the other chains. Is that sort of next in line?
I mean, first we need to do a few more things with CZ Pegs and bitBOMB. This is very, very fresh. So I had an idea, just of a different way to kind of market this and kind of explain this to new visitors, because I feel like it truly is very unique what we have, in terms of getting 100% asset exposure to whichever asset you like, either here or on CZ Pegs. The amount that our farms pay for what we're offering, it needs to be better known. Like we need to make that more clear, and we need to have that message very obvious. We need our banner ads to, really be stressing that, because, I feel that if people just knew that they could, they can throw their, the polka dot in our auto compounder that, likely in 2 years, that's going to be 20 times the size of the LP that they originally deposited, right? Or it could happen a lot sooner, depending on what the reward token price does, which is BitShare. But yeah, I think that, we just need to put the right light on this in terms of how we explain what it is we do, and then have the marketing also jive with that. And, I think things are going to explode as soon as we can get that message across clearly.
Right. So a lot of the strategies for people that are crypto traders is, accumulating these altcoins, and the altcoins that are actually, in the top 10 and top 50 list, stuff like that. So the BNB, AVAX, stuff like that. And what you guys are doing here, you got the BitShare, Bitcoin, of course, DOT, Atom, ADA, which is great. People want to start collecting those. So what better way than to start staking them away, receive rewards in both a Binance Smart Chain token as well as the actual altcoins themselves. So another thing that you mentioned when you were going over to the cross chain is that you couldn't actually pair properly because you're not over on that chain, right? You can't properly pair to an Ethereum token if you're on BNB, right? That's what you were sort of getting at with the going cross chain.
Well, let me clarify there a little bit. We could definitely peg to Ethereum here and peg to AVAX or whatever we wanted, but the thing is that we're going to be launching on those chains. So because we're going to be launching on those chains, it makes more sense to peg to those tokens on its own chain, right? So like I love those tokens that you mentioned, and definitely if we were not launching on other chains, I would definitely have them here. But because we're going to have, another protocol similar to this on Avalanche, on Phantom, on Polygon, on ETH mainnet, we will peg to those native assets there on when we launch on those chains. So these are either not Ethereum compatible or, like basically we're not going to be launching protocols on any of these chains. So that's why they were perfect picks here. I think they're all top 25 cryptos, or Atom might be a little bit below 25, but it's pretty close.
Okay. So where would be the first expansion? Over into Ethereum?
Ethereum probably won't be first. I've got a lot of big plans for Ethereum. But for one, actually to go back to governance voting for a sec. So PegHub, not only is it the revenue share token, but it's also the overall ecosystem governance token. And just to give you an example of that, we already had our first vote over there. So we weren't sure which token to use as our fourth peg token on bitBOMB. So I said, hey, let's let our PegHub holders decide this. And sorry for the spelling mistake there. It's supposed to be Cardano.
Cardana.
I
Never heard of that one. That's okay, man.
But, yeah.
It's feminine. It's feminine in Spanish.
Yeah. There we go.
Yes, I mean this was our first PegHub governance vote, but we'll do a vote on which chain we're going to launch on next, and then we'll do a further vote on which peg tokens we'll use there. So that's going to be the PegHub holders that are going to be deciding those things. In terms of actual protocol specific votes, we've done 12 here at BOMB Money. This is the original BOMB Money. And,
I was just about to ask you sort of where you're holding these polls or these voting, and it's actually right here. So you got the proposals. So who can put proposals in? Is there like a threshold of amount of shares you have to hold to do that, or?
So we actually don't there's an option somewhere here about let anybody create a proposal. I must have missed it. But yeah, anyways, we don't have it set so that anybody can make a proposal. It's only certain authors that are able to. And maybe we'll change that at some point where if you have over a certain amount of tokens that, anybody can make a proposal. Although something else that we really got to get better links to all of our different resources. But, I thought it'd be a
I'm not going to lie, man. I was a little bit lost. When you guys sent other Venom, your guys' post or whatever, I was going through your website. I went through the white paper and it was quite overwhelming. So definitely need do you have a link tree or something that you can tie all this together?
You know what? That's probably a pretty good temporary solution. I'm not crazy about that on from a professional level, but I think to put that together in 2 seconds just to have that. Yeah, I'm sure that's a good idea. And we definitely.
And the next time when you go on a future AMAs or anything, you just send them that link tree, and then all the information's right there. I figured it out. I managed to fumble my way around the site and figure it out, but it is what it is.
So I think what we're gonna do is we'll have something almost like the button that you would have on your phone to see all the apps, like that, 9 dots or whatever it would look like, something like that here that would kind of just, you click on it and it would show you all the different aspects of the ecosystem. As well, I want to have a very consistent footer on all the pages that has links to everything, right? So our auto vaults and all the different protocols. So it's seniorage protocols, and then we have a list of them, and just to have that universal footer, just to be able to access all of our resources. And no matter which ecosystem site you're on, you can always just go there and get directly to whatever you need.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that too, because when you first pulled open, czpegs.com, and then you went over to bitbomb.io, I was like, well, why is it on a different site? I'm trying to wrap my head around why it's totally on a separate site.
Well, they are separate protocols.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So a lot of our assets that are on random domains, not really random. This is our auto compounding site is on bomb.farm. We want to move a lot for example, our community discussion here is on talk.bomb.app. That's a great domain that I got. But Yeah, so I want to move all that stuff over to PegHub just because PegHub is the one protocol to rule them all, I guess you could say, right? It's the umbrella governing and revenue sharing protocol of all of them. So actually, I'll give you guys a sneak peek of some alpha here. We didn't really release this for everybody yet, but so we have a swap site on CZ Pegs, and that was, basically we had to do this just so that we could tell it proper routes to trade some of the tokens because other swap sites would never find the right routes. So we had to kind of make our own front end. We're not operating our own DEX. We're using like PancakeSwap still, but just we had to make some changes to the front end. So that's why we built this. But yeah, so we decided that, all of our sites are going to need this. So why not have a universal PegHub swap site? So you guys are basically the first ones to see this. We'll probably, get this out there today. This was finished late last night and we didn't thoroughly test it. So I didn't want to, release it early, but yeah, this is basically it's interacting with it's interacting with PancakeSwap, but it's got all of our tokens listed here and it's going to find routes to swap any of the tokens. So yeah, so we're gonna, so we're going to move everything that's universal between all of our different sites will find its home at PegHub. So probably this community forum will be like talk.peghub.com instead of talk.bomb.app, just to kind of make things more familiar and so people know that PegHub is the overtop governing the protocol.
There was a question that popped up in the text chat. Sometimes I'll pull in questions, and it is kind of show says, Venny, why did they have 155 members in the Telegram but with 2 million market cap? Did you guys just recently create that, or I'm not sure where he pulled that from?
I mean, my Telegram has 3,900, unless you're talking about PegHub. Oh, PegHub,
maybe.
PegHub Telegram has 150 members. I mean, that's a brand new Telegram. I mean, it's that market cap's actually really low. It's gonna go a lot higher than that. If you're talking about this market cap, it looks like someone.
I think that's all he said was, why do they have 150? I wasn't even sure what he was actually talking about, but yeah, probably PegHub. Okay, that makes sense, and that is relatively new. So yeah, they're just slowly building that up right now. So I guess let's talk about a little bit about marketing then. So you are on here, you're on this AMA right now. Is that what you guys are doing? Is an AMA tour currently?
Yeah, so we're doing a bunch of AMAs and, I've got some really talented guys taking care of marketing for me. So pretty much doing whatever they tell me to, but yesterday I just realized that, we need to shine this in a different light, right? Like we just need to, all of our ads, all of our, everything that's, customer facing or user facing, it needs to really show our strong points, which is exposure to incredible assets, high returns, higher than you'll find anywhere else. And a lot of the downsides of providing liquidity on other pairs, they don't exist here because the peg token is paired to what it's pegged to. So impermanent loss is basically a non-factor. There's a lot of the downsides. I mean, typically your rewards from liquidity farming would outweigh some of those downsides, but to have the high yield and not even have to think about those downsides, it's a pretty unique thing. And again, probably the biggest one of them all is just having 100% asset exposure to a certain asset, but still having a pair that you can earn, that you can farm with and get high returns with.
Right.
That's really unique.
Those impermanent losses are a very scary thing for a lot of people because, especially if they're new to the space, they don't really understand them. Now, I was on, I'm sure you guys are aware of what position exchange is. A couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago or whatever, I was in that. You pair your BNB, you pair it with position token. So if I was farming BNB. So you take your BNB, you put it into the farm. It takes 50% of your BNB, converts it into whatever token that you're going into to make that pair. So what was happening is, as soon as we hit this bear market or whatever that's going on right now, position token just kept going down. It just straight up kept going down. And of course, I was gaining rewards on it. But because of that impermanent loss, 50% of what I had put in there is now position exchange token. So BNB was going down just a little bit. It wasn't massively, but as well as position exchange. So that is exactly what impermanent loss is the 50% that you're taking, it can either go up. It can go up, which would be awesome. Everybody wants to make money. But when it goes down, that's when the impermanent loss comes into play. So just because, BNB is maintaining its price, but that other asset that you're staked to it is going down. So if you guys are sort of understanding what I'm saying, you're losing money on that other 50%.
Yeah.
So exactly. So one more time, just go over how you guys are doing it, that it doesn't actually work like that. Because,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay. So let's give an example. So if somebody wants, let's look at Polkadot for example. If you want to farm, if you want to do liquidity mine and you want to get farm rewards, you would basically be providing Polkadot with some other token. So on the BSC chain, where that'd probably be BNB or maybe BUSD or who knows, something along those lines. I mean, unless those two tokens move in perfect tandem, so BNB, if it's paired with BNB, if they both move up exactly 10%, okay, that's great. But as soon as maybe DOT is going to do a 2x over the next couple months, and maybe BNB is only going to do a 1.5x. Well, now because you don't have pure exposure to DOT, you have half exposure to BNB, half exposure to DOT. You didn't realize all of those gains from DOT going up. That's not an issue here because we have the two tokens that you'd have in your pair, and here's the pair right here, is BitDot, which is the DOT peg, and then DOT. So you're getting 100% exposure to DOT, not anything else, right? And probably even a better example than that would have been like DOT with a US stablecoin, because then you're really going to suffer when DOT takes off, right? Because your pair is going to end up holding a lot less DOT and a lot more US stablecoins, which is probably not what you want if you wanted that exposure to DOT. So that's
right.
it's basically a non-issue here.
Okay. So continuing on with a little bit more marketing, you guys do have AMAs that you're doing. How are you sort of expanding your community? So is what you're pushing, are you pushing people into the Peg Hub community right now, since that's sort of the newest Telegram that you've created?
Yeah, so I think we need to do some improvements to the site and make this a little bit more obvious what this is about, because I think this would already be a $1,000 token plus if we were just more clear about how this works, because not everybody reads the white paper. The white paper does outline what it does pretty well, though, if anybody wants to read that. So yeah, we have some.
I highly suggest you guys always read the white papers. I always say it. Read the white papers. Sometimes there is projects with a lot of extra fluff, so I can understand that it is a little bit dry sometimes. But when you guys invest, no, not yours. Okay, perfect. Yeah. But when you guys invest into tokens, make sure that you do your research.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, anybody that's read this white paper, if they're not bullish, like I don't know what to say. It's basically pre-programmed that this token is going to just keep flying. As long as there's any kind of revenue streams whatsoever, buybacks are going to keep happening. Like I said, there's been 25 P-Hub bought back in the last day and a half. It's just going to keep going. And once we launch more protocols, it's going to fly. So all right. We need to do a better job here, but we're definitely going to start marketing Peg Hub, but we need to improve the site first, like talk about the different protocols that we have, maybe have some stats on, what kind of revenue is coming from each of the protocols, have a listing, like maybe have stats on the protocols, or eventually what we want to do is have something similar to what I think this is probably the best implementation of like a cross-chain platform is what Beefy Finance has done. So just to show you guys this real quick. So this lets you interact with all of their vaults regardless of what chain it's on. And the beauty of this is that because you're not having to pick what chain you want to look at in advance, you can filter by asset, you can sort by APRs or APYs, you can filter by TVL, and it's checking those criteria across every single chain, which I think is genius because it's so easy to bridge between chains nowadays that it doesn't make sense to be looking for what's ideal for you only in one chain, right? So we're not going to copy this, or we're not going to do it exactly like this, but this same concept is what we're going to do for Peg Hub, just to kind of show all of our different protocols, regardless of chain, the assets, what the farms are paying, and hopefully we can do it as good as Beefy did, and be able to actually get involved with any of these just by you click on it, and if you're on the wrong chain, it's going to tell you to switch. But essentially, until you're depositing, you don't have to switch chains. It's like you could be on any chain and you could still view everything regardless of what chain it's on.
That is really cool. Easily accessible, and then as soon as you go to do whatever you're doing, that's when you actually switch the chain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing that's really neat about this kind of site for Peg Hub, seeing as we all have tokens that are paired with a pegged variant. It's all basically single exposure. Look at these first ones, Matic and ST Matic, staked Matic. So basically we would have a list of all the different pairs that we offer. So you can pick and choose which coins you want exposure to, and just simply drop them into an auto compounder. It's simple and elegant.
Another thing that when you guys were going to come on the AMA the other day, I noticed that you had something that was going to be released. It was called the Swapper. What is the Swapper?
Okay, I'll show you that. So I can't show you the full thing because some of it has already ended, but so the Swapper is the way that we were allowing people to take their BOMB money assets from the OG BOMB money that released in November, and to take that and to bring those assets over into bitBOMB. So like one of my number one priorities is to make sure that anyone that's invested with BOMB, we want them to be whole. We don't want anyone to feel like they were left out or neglected or cheated or anything like that. So, that's a huge priority of mine and the whole team's really. So what we did is we allowed people to migrate their BOMB tokens. So even though we were not at 1.0 peg at the time, we're still not obviously here, but we allowed that migration to happen at a 1.0 peg rate. So for people that were swapping to BitBTC, that was a 1-to-1 exchange. And we allowed swaps to our other three assets as well, DOT, Atom, and ADA. And we did that exchange based on BOMB being at a 1.0 peg. And then we just looked at, okay, if BOMB's at 1.0, this is the value of it. This is what the other token is worth. So then we just put the exchange ratio in there. So, and then in addition to that, we also let people use B bonds. And for anyone not familiar, B bonds are typically only redeemable if the peg is over 1. So essentially, everybody that was holding B bonds really couldn't do anything with it until the peg was up higher. So we allowed people to swap B bonds to our new assets, at that exact same rate that we did with BOMB. So basically, like anybody that, maybe had a bad experience in the past because the peg had dropped, we did everything that we could to make them whole, which, I think was a great success.
Gotcha. All right. Let's see here. Yeah. What else? What is sort of your guys' next step that you're working towards right now?
A huge priority. Well, for one, we are doing a lot of things internally to kind of organize the team better and really structure, project leads for each project and having a team of people underneath of them. Because, I think that the one thing that's holding us back is organization and just having, the right amount of people doing the right tasks that they're strong at. And, we've made some big hires with a lot of experience in HR and, building, helping build teams and things of that nature. So that's a huge thing that we're doing internally. But on top of that, we want to improve bitBOMB, PegHub, and CZ Pegs in terms of the way that what users see when they visit the sites, the way that we market them, the message we're trying to deliver. We need to make that a lot clearer. And probably the biggest thing is actually ease of use. We want to make this so that somebody that's new to DeFi can understand what's going on, and watching a short video or reading a little bit of the documentation, they'd have everything that they need to get started. So that's a huge priority. We're going to address that before we launch on another chain. Although we will be launched on other chains in the near future. So any PegHub holders, they'll be able to vote on which chain is going to be the official next launch, and as well as what the peg tokens are going to be. So we got a bunch of stuff that we need to do first, but I like to stick to deadlines. And I did say that we'd launch 1 to 2 protocols on other chains this month. So I'm sure we will launch at least one, or at least have one website up, maybe with a launch date that's early next month. But I'll talk with my marketing team and figure out what's ideal there.
Definitely have your work cut out for you. Okay, yep. So we were sort of talking about getting started. I am interested in how you guys sort of got started into, what was your first token again that you guys released? That was BOMB money. So Did you guys actually do a pre-sale, or how did you start that up?
Okay, so we did the same thing as like what Tomb did, because again, to me, it seemed like Tomb had really figured out the algo coin, so I didn't want to change much from what they had done in the past. So, so what typically happens, and this is different for bitBOMB just because of that migration I was just showing you. So this doesn't apply to bitBOMB, but it does apply to original BOMB and also to CZ pegs. We do something called having Genesis farms. What that is we say, okay, we want, actually it's probably better to show you on CZ pegs. So we say, okay, we want to start with like 700 CZBNB, or I think, or no, we started with like 300. Basically, we have a fixed number of tokens that we start with of each one, and then we let people deposit, common tokens that they would be holding. So Bitcoin, Wrap BNB, tokens like BUSD, stuff like that. So people deposit that, and then for a 24-hour period, they would just receive these peg tokens, and that's how we get started, really.
Okay.
We would have a Genesis farm. That's how the initial tokens get out there, and then the day after that is when we'd have our regular farm starting up. So these guys here.
Cool. Right on. All right. So maybe are you guys open for? Sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying, so it's basically a fair launch, right? So anybody can participate and.
Yeah, honestly, that's one of the best ways to go currently, man. Like, there's a lot of pre-sales that happen. I don't know if pre-sales do good, but they just seem to, pump and then die a lot of the times. It's really hard to make solid projects in the space currently, right now with what's going on. So, doing
100%.
different routes, stealth launches, fair launches, they're pretty powerful. They're coming back again. They used to be the meta for a little while. And I think they're making a comeback again. So, what you guys did was a little bit different. It's not your standard pre-sale. It's not your standard fair launch or stealth launch or anything, but it is what it is. And you guys took a different route there. So great. Are you guys open for some community questions? Throw them up on the voice chat here. All right, let's do it. So,
always.
I'm going to start unmuting some people here. So let's go to G Square first. So G Square, you've had your hand up for a little bit. I'll unmute you. Guys, if you have any questions, make sure you throw your hand up. If you're too shy to talk in the voice chat, as always, throw them in the text chat. I'll do my best to relay them.
Oh, yeah. So G Square is actually part of the team. He probably just wanted to come up to talk on behalf of the team. I don't know. Maybe he has a question. I'm not sure.
G Square, go ahead if you wanted to. If not, I'll go to Chetty. Here, I'll unmute Chetty as well. Chetty, go ahead if you have one. And let me just dip out from the call real fast, guys, just so that I can see if anybody has... Well, can you see anybody that has their hands up? I see Cryptosphere does. He just put it up. Allow to speak. So,
Hello?
Chetty, you can go first. Hey, man.
Hello, good evening.
Hey.
Hey, man.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like you to check your DM Venom. I dropped a question there.
Don't you just want to ask it on the voice chat? You want me to ask it for you?
I don't know. I don't know whether I'll be having the same error I had yesterday.
Okay, question 1. I discovered that bitBOMB has 2 tokens, CZ pegs and peg hubs. A lot of projects own a single token and find it hard to grow the price. How effectively can the team manage the growth in price of these 2 tokens?
Well, we've got a lot more than 2 tokens. It's not a token; it's a protocol. We have 5 tokens on bitBOMB. We have 5 tokens on CZ pegs, and then PegHub is its own token. But yeah, I mean, they all do their own thing, really. They're all different. PegHub is drastically different than anything that we've done in the past. It's a limited supply token that has automatic buybacks numerous times throughout the day. That the price will take care of itself. Anybody that is selling that is crazy for one, but they're also just feeding into the people that are staking. So I welcome the sellers because the buybacks hit harder when they do. So the sellers are going to run out of tokens soon. But no, generally it's been trending up though. I don't know why the last couple of days it's dropped from like 450 to 300, and that's even with the crazy increase in buybacks that have happened. So
just volatility, man. Yeah, it
I'm not worried
happens.
It's a great opportunity right now. I'll say that much. But yeah, so okay. I'm not really sure how to address that question, but.
That was Chetty's question. He's in the voice chat right now. Do you want to expand on that at all while you're in here, Chetty?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Okay, man. All right. So let me go to Rita or Cryptosphere. I did unmute you already. Go ahead, Cryptosphere.
Hey, Venom.
Hey.
Okay. My question is, as we know, a lot of investors have faced issues on PancakeSwap, like setting the slippage too high or too low, that they get frustrated. So, will your swap solve the issue for new investors to grab slippage rates itself?
Okay, I couldn't hear you too clearly, but I think I know what your question is. So we actually have our own swap site. We don't recommend using PancakeSwap for a couple of reasons. For one, we implemented a tax for selling under peg. In addition to that, because when you add liquidity to a pair, in terms of the transfer of tokens, it looks the same as a sell when you're adding liquidity, because essentially you're transferring 2 tokens to the LP, which when you're selling, you're transferring, for example, bitAtom to the LP. So that looks just like a sell to the smart contract. So what we've done is on our own swap site, and right now this is going to the so we had a CZ Pegs dedicated swap site, but we just finished building a Peg Hub swap site. So we're going to update the links to go there. When you add liquidity using our swap site, we actually created our own contract to kind of act as a middleman, and we've whitelisted that contract from taxes, so that you're able to actually add liquidity here without having to pay any taxes if a token's under peg. In terms of buying tokens, or if the tokens are over peg, there's never any taxes, so your slippage can be set super low. If you are trying to sell a token that has a tax, so for example, I'm not going to sell any, but let's just say I wanted to sell 50 of these. This transaction will incur an 18% tax. Please set your slippage accordingly, right? So this is custom stuff that we've done to make life easier for the users. So, with an 18% tax, you'd probably have to set about 22 or 23% slippage. But yeah, I mean, if you don't see that message there, then pretty much there's no tax of any sort, and your slippage could be set super low, like 0.1, 0.2. Did that answer the question, or is there?
Yeah, it did. Thank you very much.
Hey, you're very welcome.
Okay, I have one. Can I ask one more question, please?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I have a question for this team. Apart from buybacks, tax fee, and other swap fee that the projects use as a backup plan, do you have a treasury plan? Do you have a treasury that you can always get funds to resurrect the project in case of instabilities?
Yeah. So I think I was getting into this a little bit earlier, but I'll go more into depth now. So PegHub buybacks, that's coming from the dev allocation, which in the past would have gone straight to me. There's also allocations for the protocol, which go to the protocol treasury wallet. So that's actually a larger amount than what goes to the dev allocation. So there's definitely all of the seniority protocols, so CZ, Pegs, and bitBOMB, and even the original BOMB, they all have their own assets that the treasury receives on a regular basis.
Cryptosphere?
So this whole buyback thing is me giving. Just to explain again, like this whole buyback thing is just me giving rewards that were going to me for being the developer. I'm giving to the whole community and any PegHub holders. So that's not taking anything away from the protocol. It's just taking away from me, essentially, the fact that we're doing PegHub buybacks here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Okay. Thanks, Cryptosphere.
Yeah.
Let's go to Triple Lead. Triple Lead, go ahead, man. I've unmuted you. I'm also going to bounce into the text chat questions here a little bit. So Jedi's being kind enough to compile. What a boss. Thank you, Jedi. Triple Lead, go ahead, man. I've unmuted you if you have a question. Okay, I'm going to just ask a question here while we're waiting for him. So, yep. Lord K, in the roadmap, I saw a fairly ambitious goal. Contribute to launching BOMB chain with BOMB as our native token. Can you tell us how CZ Pegs will contribute to this goal? Is the first. Did you get that?
Yeah, I mean, that goal really has nothing to do with CZ Pegs. I mean, like, just because we're doing something on the roadmap, it doesn't mean that every protocol is going to have some involvement in that. So,
hello.
So yeah, CZ Pegs is not related to BOMB chain.
Hello.
Hey, Triple Lead, go ahead if you have a question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
Yeah, my question goes like this. I just want to know the market value in the next 2 years. I don't know. I didn't see it. The market value in the next 2 years.
I mean, I get these kind of questions all the time, and all I can do is build and build up a great team to support the projects, and have the right guys on the team, and we work very hard, and I'm looking for a 5 billion TVL across the whole ecosystem. So, and I think we're going to hit it next time we're in a bull market.
Okay. Thank you. That's my question.
All right,
I
Triple
want
You're
to
welcome.
say I really like Venom Calls. I really support the project, and I'm wishing you all the best.
Oh,
I
thank you,
appreciate that.
Triple. Are you new to the community? I've never actually seen your name before.
Yeah, I was once in the community, so I left because my phone was having some problems. My phone was having issues, but I'm back now fully.
Okay. Well, welcome back, and
Update.
thank you for your question on the voice chat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So the second part of Lord K's question, so he was the one that was asking about the ambitious goal. His second part is, what objectives does this new blockchain have? What advantages does it have over the existing ones?
Yeah, I mean,
So
well, it's
yeah,
going to be a chain. It's going to be an EVM compatible chain that has Bitcoin as its native currency. So, for one, anybody that loves that Bitcoin exposure, that's going to be a great smart contract capable chain for those individuals to operate on.
right.
It's something where we're gonna be able to easily raise outside investments for developing that. And I've already had people see that on the roadmap, and I've already been approached saying, hey, like, you want to raise money for your project, but hey, if when you're looking to raise money for BOMB chain, we got guys that will line up for that. So we got a lot of potential there, and there's still a lot to figure out with that, but a lot of our community is really hyped for it, and I see that as being a smart move down the line.
Okay, here we go. So next question was, where did that go? Sorry, right here. So upon staking, how often are the rewards distributed as regards the APY? How high are the rewards for the staking pools? So we sort of talked about that. It is in the epochs, right? So it is every 8 hours, correct?
So first, just in case they're referring to this on PegHub, I should probably say real quick for anyone that's interested in PegHub, and this is it's crazy that you can buy it for this price right now. But so we're going to be updating this site in the next day or two. It's actually not recommended to stake right here, just because the way that this farm works, it doesn't update how many rewards you have until the next time you interact with it. So it's not really ideal for people to do this. It's better for this to be automated. So what we have is, you can see we have a phub maxi. This is on bomb.farm, which is our auto vaults, which you could find by just going to vaults from any of our protocols. But this uses that exact same farm that I just showed you. And this actually was at exactly 500 not very long ago. So I've gained 5 phub here. But yeah, this is just a better way to do that exact same thing as what we have on the site here. So we're going to have access to this directly on the site soon, but it's not there quite yet. Okay. So for anyone that's buying phub to stake, if you go here, you will get your rewards will be updated constantly, because this contract is always interacting with that farm. So it's always, updating and getting those rewards. So, but just to touch base on what you're about to head into. So the farms actually tick up every second. Like, we can just watch this. So this will go higher while we're looking at it. So the farms, they pay like every block basically.
And you don't even have to refresh your page. It just does it automatically.
Yeah, it just jumped right now.
Nice.
Yeah. The boardrooms, though, you were right, though. They pay every 8 hours. So you can see we have in 48 minutes, we have bitAtom coming up, in 2 hours. We've staggered them every 2 hours. And actually, what we've done is CZ Pegs has a similar structure where we staggered them every 2 hours, but they're on a different 2 hour schedule. So essentially between CZ Pegs and bitBOMB, we actually have boardrooms rolling over to new epochs every hour between the two protocols. So it's like 2 hours each on bitBOMB, 2 hours each on CZ Pegs, but because they are staggered by an hour, it gives us excitement every hour between the two.
So this person's question, I attended this AMA, but I still find the project too complicated to understand. What is it for? It's a farming protocol. So they have multiple different protocols. They're all built into one ecosystem, but multiple protocols. You're able to start getting shares in main altcoins, basically. So you buy their bitBOMB token, you pair it with the share that you would like to get dividends in. You're starting to get either Bitcoin, DOT, Atom, ADA. They're going to be expanding into other chains as well. They were talking about Ethereum. We sort of brought that into play earlier. We were talking about that. That's going to be a little bit later down the line, but they didn't want to have a pair with Ethereum on here because they felt it would be better to have it on the actual native chain itself, which I completely agree with and I completely understand. So basically, at the end of the day, it's a farming protocol. Just to bare bones it. If you want more information, like Aaron was saying, definitely go to the Peg Hub website, read the white paper there. Go to czpegs.com as well. You can read the white paper there. It gives you a little bit more inside knowledge on how these farms work. I've said before, guys, like I'm not an absolute genius. I'm not a developer when it comes to this kind of stuff, so I don't really know the inner workings. I've used them. I definitely like to farm tokens, but it's not something that I can specifically dive into and tell you exactly how it works, because I can just do the best that I can. But at the end of the day, just make sure you go and read the white paper. And there is, when I was going through it, it does have some pretty strong explanations for you to sort of wrap your head around it a little bit better. Aaron, any suggestions for helping a newbie out?
He's doing a fantastic job.
I was gonna say, like, I must be doing a pretty good job here since you were able to field that question for me, so I'm happy about that.
I always try my best to sort of fill in the questions, but sometimes I am lost, and like I said, man, I get lost too. I'm only human, so it is what it is.
The fact that you're able to answer the question for me, that means that, hey, I'm explaining fairly well, at least.
Exactly. Was there anything that you wanted to add on to my explanation?
I think it was quite thorough. Like, essentially we have a couple different options depending on what you're into and what your risk tolerance is. So people that have higher risk tolerance might be more heavy into like the share tokens and going into the boardrooms. The least risky thing that we have is just to jump into any of the peg pairs. And, considering it's very low risk compared to other things out there, the farm APRs are astronomical. A pair like this should probably be paying this per year, not per day. I don't know, must be having RPC issues with the chain. I don't know why these keep disappearing, but yeah, like 10% daily on a peg pair with Atom is just insane.
But yeah, it just did a weird flickering there. Did you see that?
Yeah, I don't know, something must be weird, must be going on with the RPC that we're using. But so I mean, probably the best set it and forget it, and just like overall ecosystem token would be Peg Hub. You just buy this, and again, we'll have this auto compounding vault on the actual site in the near future. But like to just buy Peg Hub and to throw it in the Peg Hub Maxi that we have on our auto vault page, you really can't go wrong with that, especially at the price that it's at right now. Like I don't see any way that this token doesn't go to at least 10K, even in bad market conditions.
Sheesh. Bullish sentiment, guys. Yeah, make sure that you check it out and make sure that you dig on your own, do more research so you know what you're investing into. But, a lot of us are familiar with these farms, so we sort of know what to expect, how they sort of work. But, the inner workings of them, one more time, that's sort of, you got to dig pretty deep to start understanding how it actually works. But other than that, yes. So let me see. Any more questions, guys? There is Rita has her hand up. So Rita, go ahead if you have a question. I have unmuted you. Rita, I know.
Just while we're waiting, I want to quickly say that our whole community is very big on education and understanding. So if you're interested in any of the protocols, they all have Telegram groups with a whole bunch of people that are just ready to, discuss and answer any questions. So that's a really good first step. If you read the white papers, join the Telegrams. And then probably the easiest thing for someone who's interested in this protocol but maybe doesn't understand exactly what they're going to do, I would recommend checking out the BOMB.farm because the auto compounders are probably the easiest way to farm peg tokens. And what they'll do is they'll sell the share token every 2 hours and create more LP tokens. So you're just going to grow your bags on an auto compounder, right? And then they'll have all the APRs listed there, and you can go and look and see which pairs you'd like to farm.
Yep, that's great. And just in addition to that, we will have the bitBOMB pairs up here. I'm going to aim for today, but latest by tomorrow. So
Okay.
you'll be able to do that right here.
Perfect. Rita, I could hear that you were trying to talk there. Thank you for waiting till he finished.
Yep, no problem, Venom. Okay, as we all know, I'm planning on creating a project in the future. So I want to know, how do you keep your platform safe for investors, and is your platform protected from hackers? And how do you manage if there's an attack on your platform, including the personal data of the platform users? Is your platform ready for this?
Well, I mean, we've had, for one, our code base that we initially started working from was from Tomb Finance, and they've had a TVL as high as 1.5 to I think maybe even 2 billion they might have hit. So considering that they had, over $1.5 billion locked on their protocol, and the fact that it was not exploited makes me feel pretty good about the code base and how safe it is. We also get audits on all of our projects. We don't have one done for bitBOMB yet because it just launched, very recently. But we have audits for our other projects, and we'll have audits for this soon. So, same with our auto compounders. We forked this from Beefy Finance. They are very bulletproof. They have a couple $100 million locked without any issues. So, we don't change things unless we're 100% confident in the safety of that change. And that's something that we would get audited right away if we were making any drastic deviation from these, contracts that are very battle tested. So, we safety first, right? And that's, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's, our mentality. And, we put our own spin on things, but, when it comes to the code, we're very careful with making sure everything's safe.
Okay, yeah. I have one question. Can I ask it?
Go for it.
Yeah, you can ask another one.
Okay, what benefits will your token be for people beyond that only within the project or for the world? Since we have seen the failure of quite a few projects that create a token that has no use outside the project, and therefore that the token is based on a circular economy because it has no value on the project and not in the ecosystem. You get my question?
Didn't really hear you too clearly, but I mean, essentially the main thing is to have 100% exposure to Bitcoin and get this kind of APR is reason enough alone to get involved, in my opinion. People love these tokens. Same with the tokens on CZ pegs. They're tokens that people want exposure to. And instead of holding that in your wallet, you can literally over the next 2 years while our farm emissions are going to be running, if you're in the auto compounder, conservatively, your position is going to grow 10 times. And depending on the markets and, the health of the protocol, it could be more like 50 to 100 times. And that's not exaggerating. If you look at any of these long running protocols that have similar type receipt tokens where your receipt token doesn't grow, but what it's worth in whatever it's a receipt for grows, some of these things are 100,000 times bigger than when that was first created. Right. And that's not unrealistic to say that could happen with, bitBOMB and CZ pegs. Right. So it's basically growing your bags. That's basically what it's about. If you like any of these tokens that you see here and you want more of them, well, it's a very easy decision. You jump into our auto compounder for whichever of the pairs that you like, because you like, Atom or DOT or BTC or Cardano or right.
Okay. Thank you very much. I love your project so much, and it's gonna be a
Thanks,
good
man.
one.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Venom.
Thank you. Thanks for the
Thank
question.
you, Rita. Okay, let me just pop back into Venom Calls chat real fast here. I've been in my DMs trying to answer as many questions as I can. Try to put them in the actual chat, guys, because it's a little bit easier for me to find. I mean, when Jedi's on the job. Thank you very much, Jedi. As always, man, I really do appreciate it when you compile those questions. But I can't switch back from my DMs to Venom Calls to everything else that I'm juggling, guys. So try to keep it in one place, but it is what it is. We can only do our best. So I'm not seeing too many more questions here. Any more hands up? Aaron, do you see any more hands up currently? Sometimes my Telegram glitches out, so I can't see anybody.
Let me take a look.
I'm looking through it. So far, nothing.
Okay. So yeah, any more questions, guys? I'll give you another 10, 15 seconds to get any last minute questions in. If we don't have anything, that's totally fine. But if you guys do have any questions, make sure you go over to the Telegrams and ask over there. Where's the main hub that you guys would like people to go to ask these questions, guys?
Probably the best bet would be our Peg Hub, which is our whole like overall ecosystem Discord, or the Telegram.
Okay.
So
I did post the Discord actually on the Venom Calls channel as well. So if any of you guys want to get into the Discord, by all means, definitely join that. Ask your questions over there, and you do have your Telegram as well that they can ask questions too, right?
Yep.
If they don't have Discord, okay.
Yep.
So there is the new Telegram for the PAG Hub, which was the 155 members, and then the actual bitBOMB as well. I think they have 3,000 members in there. So, any questions
4,
about bitBOMB? Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just gonna say almost 4,000.
Almost 4,000. Growing, man. That's awesome. Great. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have any more questions for you guys. Do you feel like we covered the majority of the content that you would have liked to cover during the AMA?
I believe so.
Okay. Anything else you want to throw in there before we wrap up and I end the recording?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that, it's obviously very difficult to operate and launch DeFi protocols in these market conditions. But, I just want everyone to be assured that, we are going to keep building, and we're going to keep, bringing value to our investors. And, we've shown that number one priority for us is protecting our investors' funds and doing whatever is necessary to make our investors whole in bad situations. So, for example, original BOMB being under peg for an extended period of time. We've given numerous opportunities for people to swap out of that at 1.0 peg. For example, we had a peg hub pre-sale where people were able to buy peg hub. They're up about 2 or 3 times, even with its relatively low price right now. Like, this was trading around 400 and 450 for quite a few weeks there, but it'll be right back up there, I'm sure, with the buybacks. But yeah, it's not sure where I was going with that, but yeah, basically, we really value our investors, and we will answer all questions, and we'll give you good, honest advice, not just what's good for the protocol. And yeah, just come hang out with our communities, and we'd love to hear suggestions on how we could possibly improve, and we're always open to feedback. And yeah, hope to see a lot of you guys over in our socials, in our communities.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Diamond and Master Peg, did you guys want to say anything?
I think we went around pretty much everything. I want to thank you for an excellent AMA. Great questions. I had fun talking with you guys.
Thanks, man. Like I said, I wish I could have asked a little bit more in-depth questions. Sometimes I just get lost a little bit in projects. We're used to having play-to-earn gaming projects and NFTs, and we deal with a lot of different projects. But when it comes to the farming and staking, like I said, I do them. I am aware of how they work. But, when it comes to the actual intricate parts, you guys have quite a large ecosystem. So there's a lot to sort of wrap your mind around. And I think a lot of the people that are listening in here were a little bit confused as well, which is why I sort of mentioned, make sure that you guys go to the white paper, give it a good read, because the more inside knowledge that you guys have about these different aspects in the crypto world, the better it's going to benefit you down the road. Because as we know, everything evolves from a basic form, and as soon as you sort of keep evolving from there, it's always going to go back to the basics. So whatever you learn in the beginning of the crypto phases is what's going to carry on for the rest of time, pretty much. So, not exclusively or anything, and not necessarily, but all the knowledge that you can gain from reading these white papers and figuring out what teams are trying to bring to the table in the crypto space is going to benefit you as a whole in the end.
I think that's fantastic advice. If any of you have any questions after seeing this AMA, after listening to the questions, after reading those white papers, the documentation we have, come to the communities and ask us. Tell us that you're still confused about this part, or this part still seems confusing. We're always open to listen to the community, to look for ways to better ourselves.
Perfect. And Master Peg?
Just to close it up for me, I'd like to speak a little bit on safety and security, especially. So if you're looking to join our Telegrams, make sure that you follow the link from the actual project. At the bottom of the page, there'll be links to all of our socials. Just because if you search in Telegram, you're going to find multiple fake scammer, and some of those groups have more members than us. So just make sure that you're going to the right one, and make sure you've got your settings correct in your Telegram, because you will get DMs from people pretending to be our admins. And it's very important to know, because these people are very smart. So you need to make sure that you know that our admins will never DM you first. If you want to talk to any of our admins, DM them from the Telegram. But yeah, we won't DM you first. So generally, if you get a DM from someone saying "admin here, how can I help you?" they're usually looking to somehow get your seed phrase. So make sure you protect yourself with that.
Great. That's great advice as well, Master Peg. Everybody needs to really listen to that, because, there is some projects, we've had them on the channel before, that mention stuff about seed phrases. And every time that comes up, you make sure that if you're getting into another project, you make sure that you make a brand new wallet, or you just steer clear of your main wallet. Create a whole other wallet for that situation, because you never know what is going to happen in the space, and you don't want to lose your money. So definitely be careful. Yeah, so thank you guys very much for coming on the AMA one more time. Really appreciate your time. Great. All the questions that were asked, you guys had fantastic answers to them. One more time, if you guys have any more questions, make sure to go to their socials. So guys, thank you very much one more time. And I don't know, I guess we can probably end the recording. Who do you want me to send the recording to?
You could shoot it over to Diamond.